everybody, welcome or welcome back. My name is Mel and today we're going to be talking about some middle grades to scare adults. Now, I feel like middle grade is a great palate cleanser for the really spooky, the thrillers, the epic high fantasy. It's just really nice sometimes to completely lose yourself in a story of adventure and friendship and just really dive into a cozy middle grade read. However, there are some middle grades that have literally scared the pants off of me, and I feel like that's just because the imagination is so strong in a middle grade book. And so I have a couple here that I did want to talk to you guys about that I feel like are perfect for the month of October. Even sliding into November, you could get away with a lot of these. They're great spooky middle grades. Some of them scared me more than others. Some are just honorable mentions for the month of October, but hopefully you'll find something that really interests you. Again, I do recommend these even to adults that maybe don't read a lot of middle grade, but you do like thrillers and you kind of want to see what it's all about. These are going to be the ones for you. If you're looking for recommendations for kids, I still think these are great. Some of them lean a little more scary than others, and I will let you guys know just in case you are a parent trying to get a recommendation for your kid, which ones are on the more scary side. But for the most part, these are great for middle graders, young adults, and adults in my opinion. So I have 10 books here, 9 that I really feel like put in this category, and then 1 honorable mention. So first let's talk about The Haunting of Evelyn Jones by Phil Hicks. I read this one last year and I believe there's 2 or 3 of them out now. It is a series. This follows Evelyn Jones, who loves to read spooky, scary stories, and one day when she is in a bookshop, she finds the diary of Primrose Penberry. Primrose Penbeth. Oh my gosh, let's just go with Primrose. She finds her diary and there's some really spooky stuff in there and realizes that Primrose has actually gone missing, and so she decides that she is going to investigate her death, her disappearance, and bites off a little bit more than she can chew. If you're looking for something that is a little spooky and really, really quick and short, this is going to be perfect. I own the first 2. I've not read anything past this one, but super quick, great read. Then we have one that kind of bridges the gap between middle grade and young adult, and that is The Screaming Staircase by Jonathan Stroud. This one is one of the more scary of this lot. I wouldn't say that it's terrifying, but it's definitely a little bit more of the monster ghost kind of category. And we have a world where there are many different ghosts. They have different levels according to their danger. Are they just a nuisance or are they really, really dangerous? And the Lockwood and Company are ghost hunters. Lucy Carlisle decides that she's going to team up with Anthony Lockwood, and they have an assignment that leads to a grisly discovery and a dangerous end. I've read this first one and the second one. I do think I prefer the second one in the series, but I'm really excited to continue this because these are loads of fun. Next up, we have one of my personal all-time favorite series, and that is actually The City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. I adore this trilogy. It is just wholesome yet kind of scary, super quick, and I just love rereading them during the month of October. This one follows Cass, who was almost drowned, or actually did drown when she was a kid, and a ghost saved her. And ever since then, she has been able to see ghosts, and her best friend is even a ghost. Her parents are actually this like ghost hunter documentarist, where one of them is a believer and one of them isn't, and they kind of go through all of this historical sites to do their documentary, and so each of the books is following them in a different place. This one is set in Scotland, we have one in Paris, and I think the last one is set in New Orleans. The first one is probably my favorite. I don't know, it's a close call between the first and the second. The third I didn't love quite as much. There were a lot of like Harry Potter references, which was kind of annoying, but overall absolutely adore this series. Highly, highly recommend it for the month of October. Then we have one that I've not read the sequel yet or read the movie, don't come for me, but loved, loved, loved the book, and that is Night Books by J.A. White. Alex sneaks out in the middle of the night to write his scary stories and comes upon an apartment inhabited by Natasha, and come to find out she's a witch and she steals him and he can no longer leave this apartment. This is a very loose retelling. I say loose, you can definitely see the influences from Hansel and Gretel in this book, but I had a great time. It is spooky, it's a little bit creepy. What could happen when you're out alone in the dark? There's a good friendship in here. This one is spooky and just a great time, and I really, really do need to watch the movie this year. Maybe I'll reread the first and second one and watch the movie and give you guys a comparison. Let me know if that's something you want down in the comments. Then we have The Mystery of Black Hollow Lane by Julia Nobel. This one is a little less scary, a little more atmosphere, dark academia kind of middle grade. I definitely think this one could slide over into November, but it's a perfect October read as well. Emmy's dad disappeared many years ago, and she is now being shipped off to a prestigious boarding school. And when she arrives, she finds some strange symbols on medallions that leads her and her friends to a secret society. And Emmy can't help but wonder if the order has something to do with her father's old disappearance. Really enjoyed this one. Again, has a sequel that I haven't read yet. If you know me, you know I'm terrible about that, but highly recommend this one. It was a lot of fun. And then we have two of the more scary ones on this list. Probably the one that scared me the most, and I actually listened to this book at night with my lights off in my room and thought I was going to have to turn the lights on because the audiobook, oof, it was creepy. And that is Scritch Scratch by Lindsay Curry. Loved this one. I think it is very reminiscent of City of Ghosts, so if you enjoyed that one, definitely give this one a try. Probably, I don't know, it's a close call between this one and City of Ghosts as to which one is my favorite middle grade horror, but this was excellent. It follows Claire, who is a scientist. She has absolutely no interest in the paranormal, but her dad runs kind of like a bus that does paranormal ghost tours, and he ropes her in one day into helping him with one of the tours. But when she's helping, she sees a sad boy with a sad face on the back of the bus and can't help but wonder if there's more to him than appears. And she tries to brush it off, think there's nothing there, but then she starts hearing voices, and the number 396 appears everywhere that she turns. She is being haunted, the boy from the bus wants something, and Claire has to figure it out before it's too late. So good, so good. Then we have one that everybody knows and loves, and that is Small Spaces by Catherine Arden. This one is about Ollie and her group of friends that go on a field trip to like one of the corn mazes, but get themselves into some trouble when they are discovered by the Smiling Man. This one is creepy. I wouldn't say that it's the scariest out of all of them, but I can see how it would scare a middle grader, so just kind of be aware of that. I really did like the friendships in this book, and I think that there is a decent discussion on grief because Ollie has lost her mom, kind of trying to learn how to navigate that grief and life without her mother. I really enjoyed this one. I've actually read the entire series now. There are 4 following each season. This one's fall, then winter, then spring, then summer. Really love the first 2. The last 2 were not my ultimate favorite, but I definitely think this is still a series worth reading. And then we have The Ghost Squad by Claribel A. Ortega. I read this one a couple of years ago, and it was so much fun. I would say it's kind of middle of the road on the scare meter. I don't remember there being a lot of scary stuff, but it was very spooky. And the tagline for this one's kind of funny. It says, Coco meets Stranger Things with a hint of Ghostbusters in this action-packed supernatural fantasy. I can kind of see that. It's about Lucy, and for her, ghosts are more than just the family business. She and her best friend cast a spell that accidentally awakens a malicious spirit, and it's starting to wreak havoc, and they must join forces with Sid's grandmother to get rid of it. I adored that there was a grandmother in this story. You don't see very many present parents in middle grade, so loved that. Loved Sid and her friend's relationship. It was just a very wholesome, fun read, great time, and definitely recommend. Next, I recommend Hide and Seeker by Danka Herman. This one is kind of, again, one of those middle grade, could maybe lean a little on the lower young adult side, and this one is quite spooky and creepy. I wouldn't say it was creepy to the level of like Scratch Scratch for me, but it was kind of on up there on the spooky scale, so if you are giving it to a middle grader, you can be aware of that. This one is kind of following a childhood game of hide and seek, and once you agree to play, you get kind of taken into this world and you have no choice but to play the game. And this group of friends recently lost one of their other friends in the neighborhood, and he comes back a year or 2 later and is completely different, kind of catatonic, having fits, and they don't know why. And then they agree to play the game and realize where he was and what ended up happening. This one was a lot of fun. It was not my most favoritist read. I think it was more to do with I wanted it to be a little bit more creepy than it actually was, but I did have a really good time with it and definitely would recommend it. And then last but not least, we have an honorable mention, and that is Amelia Fang by Lauren Ellen Anderson. This one is a little bit more of a children's than a middle grade, but it's quick, it's fun, it's quirky. It's about all of the things that go bump in the night, including vampires, and they're actually terrified of the good things out there like unicorns and things of that nature. This one is the first one, The Barbaric Ball, and it's so wonderfully illustrated. Like, we've got great illustrations in here, if you guys can see that. It's super quick, super fun, just a good Halloween read, especially to read with your kids. I would not say this is scary at all. There is no scare meter on this one. I just thought that it was a fun, good October children's middle grade read, so I definitely did want to mention it. Okay guys, so I think that those are all 10, if I'm not mistaken, middle grade horror to scare the pants off of adults. Kind of, maybe. Hopefully you guys found some good recommendations. I really enjoy middle grade horror, so if you have some recommendations of something that you think I would enjoy, please leave it down in the comments because I'm always looking for more. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want to hang out with me a little bit more, links to Patreon, Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads are all down in the description box. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe if you wanna, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!